Let's go!
Check it out now.
I was DJing every day. And it was wicked then. You know what I mean? Fire.
Well, my thing is it is actually my real name. Not all of it, but the last name is, as shout out to the fam, the best last name on the planet. So, you know, I've got several other names, but we won't get into those.
Hey, I've heard of Ruben Blades. I mean,
That's a
great
cousin.
actor.
That's a cousin.
She's your cousin.
That's apparently.
Look at that, fame in the house, fame in the house. Yeah, you know what I mean. You know. But either way, as you know, this show is about vinyl collection. So we're talking usually to collectors as well as local DJs, and we're just kind of like having a conversation with, you know, your favorite music. You know, at least this week you guys brought like something from your favorite collections and stuff. So I mean, what we'll just do is just see like how we relate and how we get on and what's happening. What about you? I mean, do you remember the Clash, or
I
was
remember,
that not your in your
in
stream of consciousness?
It wasn't in my stream of consciousness so much. You know, I grew up on the other side of the earth, so you know, we were, you know, I was born probably around that time, so you know, I came up. My parents were listening to. My dad's from Barbados, so it was a lot of calypso, so a lot of Arab and Sparrow and all of these types of people, and then of course the tapes. The tapes tended to be comedy tapes, so it was. If he slipped up, we could listen to the Richard Pryor. If he slipped up.
Did you ever hear Super Spur?
Yeah, I've heard most of them now. Then, you know, it would start and then it was like, oh, can't listen to that one. But I've heard all of Bill Cosby, the chocolate, the That Is Great, Give Us the Chocolate, all of that in car rides. But then first thing in the morning was country. So
country?
Yeah, it was. You know, it was what it was.
Well, what was it? Cause give me an example of country in your house.
I mean, proper all-out country. Like
Now I'm Kenny Rogers country.
This is, you know, Kenny Rogers country is like the nice sort of pop country you're talking about. I'm talking about proper twang, all-out guitar, all of that.
All right, right. Hee-haw.
Yeah, all of that, because it was just the radio station that we listened to in the morning, and my dad was routine, so it was like the same radio station, listening to the call-ins and whatever else. Me and my sister would try and change the station in the car before we got in, and then he would just get in and, you know, blam one time. It was that. But you know, in the house, my mother was a soul fan, so her and her friend were Aretha Franklin was their person. And I remember one of my earliest memories is the Roberta Flack album with the afro and the words written right there. You know, I mean, these are records that can't leave my house in Bermuda. You know, so
no. I mean, those are awesome. Now, I said this to the boys last week, so I don't know if you're in my generation, but do you guys remember 8-track?
No. Yeah, just barely.
Thanks, Jay.
There was an 8-track in the car.
Yeah.
That I barely remember.
Do you remember what
I've seen it.
Seen
an 8-track, yeah.
So just imagine, right? I mean, the 8-track, this big fat VHS tape, right? But only plays music, and so in your car you had the 8-track player, or your house, or whatever. So.
And it only fast forwarded.
And then you push it in, but it doesn't go all the way in, right? So. You know, and I'm listening to like the Ohio Players, you know, like Backstabber or something on an 8-track, you know, and the point is, I think you only had like 1 or 2 songs on an 8-track, so you had to have a lot of 8-tracks. It's before you like, you know, put everything onto a cassette or a mixtape or something, you know, but it was all.
Yeah, I remember in the house having a reel-to-reel. I remember that.
Oh my God!
Yeah. And not being able to touch that. Yeah. You know, like to this day I don't know what happened to that.
These things are expensive, son.
Yeah, it was that, and I'd probably break it because that was how I was. You know, I like taking things apart, but I never like putting them back together. So, you know, I was that child. I'm from a generation probably before that. So I had
Me too, man. Don't worry about it. I'm
I
with
had
you.
the old school with the drop down, and then you put it on, and as soon as you moved the arm in, it would go ka-chunk, drop the
Yeah,
record down, put the needle on. It was all automated. And
Wait, what, that little hanger? That,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
stick?
yeah.
It's like a magnet.
yeah.
Right.
To this day, I still don't know how it worked, but it's all right. I'm cool with that. And that, I used to get into like stacking records on that because I used to find that
How
hilarious.
heavy can you take it?
How many can I put on here, and how many records can I go through, and will it hit each other, and all of that. So I mean, but it was the 80s when I really started getting my own music, and don't know why I started buying vinyl, because there was only this one turntable in the house.
Yeah.
It was-
So I mean, everybody else was gonna have that turn before
and
you.
so
So what was the first one that you think
the
you?
first, I can't even remember. I bought a record for my sister. It was for my sister's birthday, knowing that she was never gonna play it. And I to this day I can't remember what it is, but I still have it somewhere, stashed away.
What kind of music was it?
It was R&B, 80s pop, like the, this type of.
Well, you
synthy.
said Club Nouveau. Come on, man. When I saw this, I was like, hey, now there's somebody who knows some music now.
Yeah,
What's
that
going
was.
on, huh?
It was around that era, and I'm sure it wasn't. Oh, who sang Home? When I think of Home, I think of a place.
That's from The Wiz, isn't it?
Yeah, who?
Diana Ross.
Not just Diana Ross, the stage version.
Oh,
The
come
lady
on, man.
with the big mouth. I remember she had a huge mouth. I can't remember.
Oh! I know who you're talking about, but I don't know.
See,
I would say Phyllis Hyman.
no, it was.
All right,
her
fine.
name started with an S, but anyway.
Okay, whatever. Big mouth.
But I'm sure it was that. I was
Pretty
sure it
sure
was
you
her.
remembered her for other reasons.
No.
All right,
I
I'm
was
just
young
saying.
and innocent then.
All right. Sure you are.
But yeah.
So
That was the early ones, and then I didn't really start calling myself a DJ till about 1994, 95, when I went to university basically, and I was the guy with I had a bunch of music anyway,
yeah.
but I moved to CDs, to collecting CDs, because I knew I didn't have any money to buy any Technics at the time. But that all changed, and I found some Technics, and since then, it's been non-stop.